He said that Jesus Christ has risen, and he is the open door.
How you doing, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show, where I talk about life, I talk about liberty, and I talk about the pursuit of happiness. And yes, we show the world that as Cajuns do have intelligence. Hope you're having a good day. You got to remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Why? Because God is good all the time, and all the time, God is good. Got some slogans going on around here, ladies and gentlemen. Great weekend. We got to spend a little time in Baton Rouge, and I learned something about the Looney Tunes. That Daffy Duck can beat everybody except Bugs Bunny. Sounds kind of like the Republican Party right now with Donald Trump. You know, Ron DeSantis is doing good on his own his state. Tim Scott's doing good, and they're all doing good until they have to meet up with Donald Trump. Same thing with the Democrat Party. They lie, they steal, they cheat, all the time. All the time until they meet up with Donald Trump. And then they're like, I didn't say all that. I did a TikTok video on that, and I didn't say all that. But yeah, but in Baton Rouge, went and spent some time with the youth group at Crossfire Youth Ministries. The Spirit of God fell on both evenings that we were there. Had a great time Saturday. Tried to take a little nap this afternoon. Unfortunately, it did not work out. I learned something having toddlers. They always have a question, and it's every 5 minutes. So right when I was about to start falling asleep, they were like, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And look, you know, sometimes it's aggravating, but at the same time, I wouldn't trade it to save the world, because one day they're going to be 18 or 20 or whatever, and they're going to be married, and they're going to have kids on their own. And I'm going to tell my wife, boy, I miss when they were small. It's kind of like in life. You think about it. Okay, a lot of the trials and tribulations, you're at that point, you're like, God, why you're doing this to me? But in the long run, you're just going to remember everything that was good about that situation and how God brought it through. You didn't think he was, but you're going to look back and you're like, wow, God did bring me through some tough times. And you're going to remember the good and not the bad. And that's something that you know, we need to do as believers, but just not as believers, as people. Yeah, we might be going through some hard times, and yes, it's hard times, but greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. And our good times, our bad times, we might remember them, but we're going to remember the good that comes out of it. So with that being said, we have a guest on this episode, Mr. Blake Miguez. He's the representative of the 49th District here in Louisiana. He is running for District 22 Senate seat. Met Blake on the side of the boat docks in Delcombe for the Shrimp Festival. Ever since then, me and Blake has been real good friends and have talked every so often on a regular basis. And when we meet each other at events, and his schedule fell to where he can come spend some time with us. So for the third segment, we will have Mr. Blake Miguez, Representative Blake Miguez from the 49th District and State Senate seat 1. The only candidate so far that I've recommended or endorsed on the campaign trail right now. Blake is a true conservative. Stay tuned for that. Ladies and gentlemen, it has finally happened. It has finally happened where a former president has gotten a mugshot. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Fulton County in Georgia's DA, the DA of Fulton County, has successfully, I'm trying to say my words right, indicted President Donald Trump. Just not Donald Trump, but also 18 others along with Donald Trump. And we had some news before the show. Well, it was after the show aired. But ladies and gentlemen, there's some. These people have started. All the people that have been indicted have been coming forward and surrendering to the DA and to the Fulton County Sheriff's Department. We've had Rudy Giuliani's photo release. Bo Meadows, the former chief of staff. I want to say his name correctly. Let me pull up the article. Mark Meadows. Correct. I said Bo Meadows. Mark Meadows was processed and he was released, and his mugshot was released. So I knew when that came out that they will go ahead and do a mugshot of Donald Trump. Now let's go back to the first indictment with Alvin Briggs. Ladies and gentlemen, if you remember, that was one of the biggest topics going forward after that first indictment. Will Donald Trump have a mugshot? Now, they worked it with that indictment and the other two that followed, the federal indictments, that Donald Trump would not have a mugshot. But for some reason, Fulton County was so their heart was set on getting a mugshot of Donald Trump. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Democrats' infinity gauntlet. They wanted this picture. They wanted this picture because they can use it on campaign ads and campaign posters or whatever, Facebook, and plaster this mugshot all over the place and say, listen, you want this man to be your president? He's in an indictment. He has been indicted 4 times, and that's going to be their centerpiece for their ads, is the Trump mugshot. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you think of a mugshot, you don't think of the person innocent until proven guilty. You see that mugshot and you think of that they got arrested and that they look guilty. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what the Democrat Party wanted. The Democrat Party of this country wanted that mugshot so they can show the American people, look, this is the man that's running for president. And I'm starting to see, it get close as it get closer to the election, that they want Donald Trump to win. Because they feel that both Joe Biden can beat Donald Trump. I believe the Democrat Party thinks that that's the only person that could lose against Joe Biden is Donald Trump. Because yes, if Donald Trump does not win the primary, all Donald Trump supporters are going to probably go vote for that next person. That's why you got to try to make sure you stay clean. If you look at the last debate, there was not that much attack on Donald Trump besides Chris Christie. Why? Because all them candidates know that if they win, they have to bring over the Trump vote. Christie ain't going to get them. I think most of Republicans will vote independent before they vote for Chris Christie. He's somebody that's not popular. But that's what they wanted that mugshot for. They wanted that mugshot to have to say, listen, this is the guy that's running for president, and you really want this guy to be president of the United States? He's convicted. They would pull it like that, but he hasn't been convicted of anything. Well, Trump goes on late Thursday night to Georgia. He turns himself in. They fingerprint him. They do everything. Trump was in there for like 15 minutes. And I remember it was Thursday night. Normally it's my time to be home. I watch the kids as my wife tends to ministry stuff and go spend time with some of the church ladies. I was home. And I forgot what I was doing. I think I was prepping for no, not last weekend. I was doing something. I was reading, and I saw the news flash that Donald Trump went ahead and surrendered himself. I'm like, I need to watch this. I wasn't even thinking of the mugshot. I wanted to see the news and see what was going on. So I turned on Fox News, and ladies and gentlemen, he was, like I said, it was only maybe 15, 20 minutes he was in there. Before Trump could get on the plane, there was already talk about the mugshot being released. It even came to a point where a fake mugshot was released, and one media outlet ran with it, and it wasn't even credible. It was fake. But Donald Trump gets on the plane. He makes a statement, which that brought out a lot of news, in my opinion. There was only 2 networks that showed Donald Trump talking when he got on the plane. It was Fox News and Newsmax. Only 2 news networks that covered Trump's comments after being indicted for the 4th time. MSNBC said if he says something of newsworthy, we will go ahead and we will show it. CNN cut away because they wanted to talk more about the upcoming mugshot and all this. The media did not want to hear nothing about Donald Trump. They wanted that mugshot. Just remember that. They wanted that mugshot to plaster all over the screens. Well, it came out. And ladies and gentlemen, what a mugshot. It was Donald Trump. He wasn't smiling. People was asking the question, will he be smiling? Will he give a thumbs up? What would he do? And look, it looked like Donald Trump was ready for war. Now, that mugshot that they've been waiting on, it started to backfire at that moment when it was released. Why did I say that? Because, yes, this is the fourth time a former president was indicted. The same president, by the way. But that mugshot made it real that, wow, they're going after a former president. Not because he committed a crime. Now, there might be some of my friends on the left that will say, yes, he did do a crime and he needs to pay. He needs to pay by spending some time in jail. But true-blooded Americans saw that photo and thought they're going after Donald Trump because that is the chief political opponent to the Democrat Party right now. And Donald Trump, like I said, looked ready for war. He wasn't smiling. I don't look, even if he didn't do nothing wrong, that is a bad situation to go in there and have your picture taken because you're getting booked into jail. Even if you don't spend no time in jail, it's still it's still something that you don't have no pleasure in. But the mugshot was released, and look, it went viral right away. It even brought Donald Trump back to Twitter, where he made a point about election interference, and he basically said, "I'm back." And that was his first tweet. Well, I say tweet. His first X post in the last 4 years. The last time Donald Trump tweeted was on January 6th of 2021. And that was the day of the riot at the Capitol. But his mugshot was released. The media was foaming at the mouth. Liberal outlets were praising this mugshot, that we finally have a mugshot of Donald Trump. The Democrats were probably saying, yes, we finally have that image of Donald Trump going to jail. His mugshot. Oh, I can imagine the Democrats and the left-leaning people were saying, this is the best gift we've had in a long while. At least for the last 2 years. Well, it was plastered all over the news. Every big newspaper, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, the New York Post, New York Times, all the big papers carried the story about Donald Trump's mugshot. And ladies and gentlemen, normally somebody takes a mugshot and they're in politics is damning evidence. It's an instant out of the race picture. Because, ladies and gentlemen, people see this. They're going to like, oh, he's because like I said, he's not convicted, but a mugshot is kind of that stamp to say, listen, you're going to trial. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, the mugshot kind of backfired on him. Joe Biden was asked about the mugshot. He smirked at Donald Trump and said he's a handsome guy. That's all that Joe Biden said. And Joe Biden is smiling because, like I said, the left thinks, hey, this is a good thing. But there's a problem. Donald Trump, going back to his post on X, got thousands and thousands of views. All of a sudden, the Trump team is using this for their advantage. Remember, mugshots are normally, hey, that's not good. He's going to trial, and like people see a mugshot, they think he's a convicted felon. They think when that picture is taken, that's it. He's done. No, like I said, normal politicians take a mugshot, you don't survive. It's you know how they had a get out of jail card on Monopoly? Well, this a mugshot is a get out of the campaign trail picture. It just, you got to get out because it looks like, but it's different on this mugshot. Why? Because Donald Trump has turned it around. And look, this what makes Donald Trump a great business person. Taking a bad situation and turning a profit on it. Donald Trump and some conservative outlets are using this as a tool to show people that what's going on in these 4 indictments are politically motivated. Even Donald Trump himself with the posts, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up the post right here because Donald Trump made a statement on that post. Where's it at? It's taking a little time to load up. But Donald Trump, let's go ahead and read the post that he went ahead and all he tweeted was donaldjtrump.com. Election interference, never surrender, the caption underneath the mugshot. It also listed his campaign website. So Donald Trump was using this to his advantage. Now the media is upset. I've heard some people say that they shouldn't plaster this. They're praising a mugshot. They're praising a criminal. Wait a minute. What happened to the Democrats saying, hey, look, we should show this to everybody and show the world how bad Donald Trump is? But now Donald Trump and his allies are using this to show that the Department of Justice has been politicized. The Department of Justice is going after Donald Trump, not because he's a bad candidate or he's a criminal. It's because they just don't like him and he goes against the grain. They're using now the media, the mugshot that they wanted for so long is one of their worst nightmares, because besides the Al Capone mugshot, this is probably the best mugshot out there, or the most famous mugshot out there, because Donald Trump is an iconic figure. Just not as president of the United States, but with The Apprentice and all this other stuff, he's a famous person, and getting a mugshot normally means that he done something wrong, which we know he didn't. But ladies and gentlemen, it's the media it didn't go the way they planned. They thought this mugshot was going to be a mugshot that would finally bring down Donald J. Trump. But it has brought more support. And again, going back to all the indictments, when the indictments happen, it always helped Donald Trump. And ladies and gentlemen, their plan is backfiring again. Normally, what the Democrats think is bad for Donald Trump, it works out in his favor. And ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing this with this mugshot. The mugshot that the Democrats always wanted, but now regret. Because Donald Trump has turned it over to his advantage. And they don't like it. And because they don't like it, now they don't want it plastered all over the world, or plastered all over the United States. Because it's a picture that shows a republic that goes to a banana republic, where they say they believe in freedom and liberty and honor, but in reality are trying to take out their chief opponent. And look, am I happy that the mugshot happened? No. I wish it would never happen. I don't think a president should be in that situation unless the evidence is real clear. But ladies and gentlemen, this mugshot that the Democrats always wanted is now backfiring on them, because it shows who is really the real enemy of this country. And it ain't Donald Trump. And look, like I said, the picture, I don't have it up. I wish I would have put it up on the screen. But the mugshot with Donald Trump's face looks like he's ready for war. And I agree with one meme that put it. It said, this looks like a man that knows he won the 2024 election, and he's coming after him. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and take our break. We'll be right back in a few moments, so stay tuned. How you doing, everyone? Isaac here. I'm the Cajun Conservative, and I want to thank Brother Lanny Hayes from Hayes' Dump Truck Service for their generous support of the Cajun Conservative and Brothers Just Searching. Hayes' Dump Truck Service serves the Lafayette and surrounding areas. If you have any job that you need done, like cleanup or hauling material to your job site or your home, we haul limestone, we haul sand, we haul topsoil, any type of material you need. If you're in the Lafayette and surrounding areas, please call Brother Lanny Hayes at 337-852-8043. Remember, Hayes' Dump Truck Service, where Jesus is Lord of the company.
cleansed and made us whole. Not one hub, not one soul.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Cajun Conservative Show. Just thinking something about the last segment. Be careful what you wish for. You ever heard that old saying? You wishing for something and then all of a sudden it backfires on you? That's probably what the Democrats are doing right now. And to be honest with you, if it continues in this trend, they might be saying that about the 2024 election as well. Because remember, they want Donald Trump to win. They think Biden's the only one that could beat, Donald Trump's the only one that can lose against Biden. Because we already know about the other candidates. I think any other Republican could beat Joe Biden. Maybe Chris Christie would be an exemption to that rule, but he's negative. I think he's sitting at 1% of the polling, and we don't have new polling yet after the debate. I think the only thing we had for polling wise was like Ron DeSantis went up a little bit. But Donald Trump is still leading the pack very much ahead of everybody else. With that success, I don't see Donald Trump taking the stage next month. And look, the reason I wish he was there at the first debate. I really do. But at the same time, if he keeps a commanding lead like that and he follows the trend, Donald Trump will not be at any GOP debates. Because the numbers are so clear that he's the head. And I think that's what Democrats are hoping. Man, yeah, we hope President Donald Trump goes against President Biden because he will lose and then we'll have 4 more years of Biden. I don't think so. And they better be careful what they wish for. If I was them, I would do the total opposite. I would try to get somebody else instead of Donald Trump, because Donald Trump will crush the 2024 election. And look, I'm speaking not as a Trump guy. Yeah, I like Ron DeSantis, but to be honest with you, after these 4 indictments, I'm really considering Trump now more and more. Well, Isaac, is obvious he's winning. That's why. No, I like Ron DeSantis. I think Ron DeSantis would make a great president. I don't know. I just have a feeling on that side of presidents of Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis will be a president. I'm not doubting that whatsoever. I just see right now though. I see it's probably gonna be Donald Trump and Ramaswamy as the ticket. If that happens, we already know Victor Ramaswamy. I think I'm saying his name right. Ramaswamy. He did very well at that debate, and that is a like-minded person to Donald Trump. I can see that ticket going for. That would be a great ticket, in my humble opinion. All right, so talking about the candidates and debates and stuff, and this fits along the line of what, be careful what you wish for, because the Democrats are pushing that. Before I continue on that, I know I started on that rabbit trail and I didn't stop. Just remember Mr. Blake Miguez, he's representative of the 49th district here in Louisiana, is going to be sitting with us. He is also running for District 22 state Senate seat here in Louisiana. Love Blake. Can't wait to sit down and talk with him. We're going to have a good time. Stay tuned for that. All right, going back to the topic that we were just talking about, on the popularity of Donald Trump. The ratings came out for the debate on last Wednesday night. And we talked about it on Thursday, brought out some points. I didn't get to watch it. I saw clips and heard commentary on it, but I didn't get a chance to watch it due to me falling sick, or falling ill, proper language. But I made a prediction on that. I said, I don't think 90 million people watched that debate on Wednesday night. And I said Fox News probably didn't have that. Well, we got the numbers for that debate. The debate ranked in 2.82 million total viewers. On one article I have, it made the point that I think it made like 12 point some million views total for everything. I want to make sure that my numbers are correct. Let's see. I have that. Yeah. So Fox News Media draws 12.8 total viewers for the Democracy 24 Fox News Republican primary debate. That is directly from Fox News. According to the Daily Caller, it was a lot less than that. But so the debate generated a total of 13 million. So they rounded off to about 13 million. And you had Fox News, you had Fox Business, you had Fox News Digital. So they all brought in about 12.8 million total views. So let's just round up about 13 million viewers for that debate. Now, Donald Trump, when it released, the interview reeled in over 239 million views as of Thursday evening on Carlson's Twitter account. Now, when I reported, I saw 90 million. So it went up to 239 million. Now, this is social media. If you pass over, you stay for a second, it counts as a view. So that's how X does their stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, now we have data. Okay, and I'm here. I'm making a prediction. I am a Ron DeSantis guy, and anything can happen. But ladies and gentlemen, Trump's going to be your 2024 Republican candidate for president. Isaac, how can you say that? I'm just looking at this raw data. When you only had 13 million people watch, and look, I'm a media guy. I'm a news guy. I watch all these debates if I possibly can. I try to make events. I have politicians inviting me to things all the time. If I don't have nothing booked, I go. I meet people. I talk to people. I love political events. I love them. Debates. I love watching debates. Now, look, I fell sick. That's why I didn't watch it. But if I was in good health, I would have put on this debate. I would have watched this debate. But I didn't even watch this debate. 13 million views for this debate, compared to Donald Trump talking to Tucker Carlson's 239 million. Do the math. Who are people? Who do people want to see? Donald Trump. Who's the head of the Republican Party right now? Donald Trump. All these Republicans can fight. Hutchinson, Christie, all these never Trumpers can fight up and down all the way around. Donald Trump's the next candidate in 2024. It's that simple. It is that simple. Donald Trump will be the candidate going forward. Now, with that being said, should they have another debate? If they look at these numbers, the RNC should say, look, we're going to back up Donald Trump. I know it's gonna take off everybody else that's running, but now, I don't know. I think it's Fox Business that is hosting the next debate. They won a third debate. Now, this is the other candidates won it too. At least they'll get some sound bites. We did get some good sound bites, good clips from it, but I don't see it. And that's my prediction right now. And that's a very easy prediction I think any 2-year-old can make. Just looking at these raw numbers. When you bring in 239 million views on a social media app, by the way. Now, social media is the way to go. Everybody can go. I think majority, everybody has a Twitter account. I have 2 of them. No, I got 3 of them because the brother's just searching in my personal account. But ladies and gentlemen, that right there, I said that I wanted to see the numbers. Now that I see the numbers, I am 99.9% sure that Donald Trump will be the candidate in 2024. It's obvious. It's obvious. All right, moving on. So at the same debate, Donald Jr. Was called. Well, excuse me. Fox News called security on Donald Trump Jr. Why did they call security on Donald Trump Jr.? Because Donald Trump Jr. was acting as a surrogate for Donald Trump. Him and I think it's his fiance, the woman that used to be on Fox News, Kimberly Gaffarelli. They're dating. Donald Trump Jr. left his wife for her, which I have my opinions on that, but I would keep my opinions to myself. Anyway, but so they're dating, and they've come out with a few shows. They are co-owners, I believe, of Rumble, the alternative to YouTube. We're on both platforms, so we don't discriminate against anybody unless they do something. Then we have to say something. But anyway, but yeah, but he was there, and they were going as news reporters, and Fox News called security on him, told him to leave. Now, So I'm gonna give you two views on this, one for each side, and I'm gonna talk about Fox News first. If Donald Trump was not gonna debate, why you have people there to eye the other candidates? This is a national television event. You could watch it almost anywhere, and why would you need people there? Well, we got to talk to the voters. We got to talk to, you decided not to go. If Donald Trump wanted to be represented there, Donald Trump should have showed himself. So Fox News saying, look, Don, sorry, Don Jr., we're not going to let you in. Now, Don Jr., to my knowledge, has not been on Fox News for a while. I don't know if he's one that's been banned or whatever. They go after Fox News real hard. But they looked at Don Jr. as a surrogate for Donald Trump. So on that note, yes, they did right. Hey, you can't be here. Let all the other people come and listen to the debate. Your dad did not choose to come. So I have that view. On the other side, though, shame on Fox News. Because if they did go there as a show and they had media passes and they were credible media sources, they had the freedom of the press. They should have went. Now I don't know if Fox News let CNN and all of them in there, but they were going to do a show and all that stuff. And Don Jr.'s like, listen, they're suppressing our voices to talk about this event. Now, I've never been invited to anything like that to shoot or to shoot a show or whatever. I've been to campaign parties and stuff, but that's really my top tier thing right now. But if I had the opportunity to go as a show, I probably would. But you have other places you can go ahead and do. They could have went next door and say, look, we're here at the presidential debate. Now, if they went as private citizens and bought tickets, Fox News shouldn't have kicked them out. So this is a up, and like I said, I see both sides of it. I see both sides of this argument that Don Jr. was saying. But yeah, he said, in his words, Don Jr. tweeted, said Fox News is trying to censor and silence Trump supporters to protect their hand-picked establishment candidates. That's a big reason why their ratings are dying. While my father's interview with Tucker Carlson is already at 93 million views at the time of that tweet, he said that. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I think Fox News is doing their job. Look, your dad didn't come, and I don't think they were trying to censor him. To just, I don't know the whole look. Fox News ain't gonna give me a statement. I could pick up a statement probably from somewhere. It might be in this article, but ladies and gentlemen, I see both sides of it. I see both sides. Let's see. Oh, wrong thing. Let's go to let's go to show prep. All right. So, New Hampshire Secretary of State waits using 14th Amendment to keep Trump off a ballot. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The party that says that Donald Trump was trying to stop the results of election, you have Democrats that are trying to keep a candidate off. The New Hampshire Secretary of State, David, not even a Democrat, a Republican. So this must be another Trumper. Skolin is consulting with the state attorney general to determine if the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment empowers him to keep a former president, Donald Trump, off the 2024 election presidential ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, denying a state the right to vote for their preferred candidate. You know how many people are in New Hampshire? New Hampshire is not that big of a state, but at the same time, it is a state. And they do have people there that have a voice. And they want to make their voices heard. Louisiana, we have elections this season. Could you imagine that we have Mr. Blake coming on the show? Could you imagine our district attorney calling the attorney general and say, hey, can I keep Mr. Blake Miguez off the record because it stops the other candidate? That you would have people in this parish and two other parishes in an uproar because they'd be like, what? You want to keep him off the ballot? Now, his argument is on the disqualification boils down to Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution, 14th Amendment, which says that a public officer is not eligible to assume public office if they engage in an insurrection or rebellion against the United States or has given aid or comfort to enemies. Therefore, unless they are granted asylum by the 2/3 vote in Congress, there's a problem. Now, see, this person wants to keep Donald Trump off the ballot, but Donald Trump is not convicted yet. See, that's a part that these never Trumpers and a lot of people on the left. Oh, Donald Trump, like we talked about the mugshot earlier. The mugshot shows he's guilty. No, it doesn't. I had a conversation with a guy on YouTube the other day. This person sends me a comment saying that Donald Trump is guilty. And I said he's presumed innocent until proven guilty. That's what makes America great. But this Secretary of State wants to keep Trump off the ballot on an assumption that he caused the insurrection that has not been proven in a court of law yet. Oh, I want to keep him off the ballot because he caused the insurrection. There's no proof of that yet. He has not gone to court yet. So he's still an innocent person. He can run for office. Now, this amendment was written during the Civil War, or after the Civil War, to keep Confederate generals and Confederate leaders from running from office. That's why this 14th Amendment was written. But ladies and gentlemen, this man wants to keep Donald Trump off the ballot because he caused the insurrection, but he has not been convicted yet. I believe all the men that the 14th Amendment was written for were convicted of doing an insurrection against the United States. They had a whole war, and that these men were leading the charge on. But ladies and gentlemen, this Secretary of State wants to keep Donald Trump. Look, talking about interfering with an election, this is not giving New Hampshire voters the opportunity to vote for the president they want. But when you have politicians that think they're God and they think they can do whatever they want, this happens. And like I said, this is a Republican. I thought it was a Democrat. But this is a Republican, probably a never Trumper. Donald Trump, I'm a Mike Pence supporter. I'm a this supporter. No, don't matter who you are. This is a voted, I think this is a voted spot in New Hampshire. Normally secretaries are. If you were voted as a Secretary of State, you need to do your job. If they tell you this is a candidate, put him on the ballot, you need to put him on the ballot. No if, no and, no buts about it. Now, New Hampshire is one of the first states, too. If Donald Trump wins it, he could go ahead and get his vote count up to become the nominee for the convention. That's what this is about, too. If this Republican's doing that, he's probably a close friend of Chris Christie, in my humble opinion. All right, let's talk about a little bit of COVID-19. So, ladies and gentlemen, 2 years ago, if you remember, and it's burnt into everybody's memory, how the world was really turned upside down. COVID-19 happened. Businesses were shut down. People were told they can't go to church. People were told to wear a mask and to stay 6 feet apart, which we found out that is really, it didn't help the situation. You had Dr. Fauci saying one day we don't need a mask, it's useless, it's not worth it. Then a couple of weeks later, all of a sudden saying, hey, you need to wear a mask. And I noticed the pattern with Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci would hear Donald Trump say something, he would take totally opposite. Donald Trump at that point should have fired that sucker. I'm just being honest with you. He should have fired Dr. Fauci when Dr. Fauci gave him bad information. Now, Donald Trump, I think, was looking into the long run. He thought, well, people would see this and people would say, listen, Dr. Fauci's doing whatever he wants. I'm going to still get elected. And it backfired on Donald Trump, in my humble opinion. But as we gradually got along, COVID-19 died down. We were lifted up by restrictions, which were not constitutional, by the way. And people started doing research and things started coming out. And majority of what Donald Trump said about COVID-19 came out to be true. Well, unfortunately, we're getting back to that point. Why do I say that? Major movie studio reinstates mask mandate effective immediately. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's Lionsgate. They have implemented mask mandates. Why? Because there's a new COVID subvariant coming out, Eris or EG something. is spreading in the United States. And I'm starting to see this too, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of people are starting to catch COVID-19 again. The reason being is, and if you remember, if my memory serves me correct on history, when the flu came out, it was a major pandemic. Now, even with the flu, people, I don't think they closed down businesses and did the extreme like they did with COVID-19. But ever since that time, I think the flu came, the major flu case, I think 1912, something. It was the early 1900s when that came out, and the flu's still with us. Almost 100 years or over 100 years later, we still have the flu. You still have to take a flu shot. And all that stuff, which I never understood the concept. We give you a shot with some of the flu so you can get sick, so you're never sick again. And every year people are getting flu shots. If I'm not mistaken, I think I took one, and I've never taken it again. That's my personal preference. If you don't, you can take them if you want. But this new variant has people up in arms, and you're hearing of COVID cases and all this stuff. Now all of a sudden you have movie studios saying, "Hey, we're gonna put this mask mandate to protect us from COVID-19." Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, a piece of cloth or a piece of mask will not protect you from COVID-19. You will still get sick. And look, I've never encouraged people not to take it, but I say I'm never taking a COVID shot in my life, and I don't plan to. If you want to do it, great. It's America. Do what fits you. If you want to jump off a bridge, you have every freedom to do it. Okay, I'm not encouraging that. I'm just saying, you live in America. You can make decisions that best fit your health. But ladies and gentlemen, what I'm hearing is that some that's in high office are prepping. In December, we're going to have full-blown protocols for the COVID-19 incident again. And ladies and gentlemen, two things I want to say about this before we have our interview with Blake. One, if that happens to America again in the current economic state we're in, we're doomed. Isaac, oh, come on, you're passing fear. No, we're doomed. The reason we survived COVID-19 the first time around was because of Donald Trump's economy. Now we're sitting right dab in the middle of Biden economics. We're doomed. Our country the country will never be the same from the first time we did this stuff. Now, if these theories are true, we're going to call them that theories, and they go full-blown protocol on COVID-19 again, like I said, we're in trouble. This Biden economic stuff is going to crumble America. And one more of shutting down businesses and shutting down the economy would ruin this country. Two, if it is true again, these theories, that because it's, and look, I don't know if this movie studio is doing a dress rehearsal, but if it's true that the government is going to try to force us to take a vaccination or to wear little paper cloths on our face, I'm not going to do it. You're going to defy? Yes. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it's going to go good this time around. See, we didn't know what was happening 2 years ago. Now we got a hint of what can go on. And I believe majority of people in this country have more sense than than the government gives them. I'm not going to wear a mask. If I go to a place and they tell me I have to wear a mask, me and my family's walking out. I'm going to say, you will never see my business again. And is that cancel culture? No, they're not allowing me to live out my freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, what did the founding fathers do when they were imposed on something against their will? A tax on tea, remember? They went ahead and disguised themselves as Native Americans. They went on a boat and they threw all the tea in the harbor. They didn't touch nothing else. They touched the tea. Then they cleaned up after themselves. They went ahead and showed England, hey, you're not going to go ahead and bully us. And ladies and gentlemen, we need to do the same thing. Because if they go ahead and tell you you have to wear a mask, and they tell you you have to do this and you have to do that, that is the government opposing their will upon the will of the people. On the people. And that's not how it's supposed to be. the beginning of our founding document, the Constitution, which I have behind me, right by the flag, says, "We, the people." The people run this country. The politicians don't run this country. And we as American citizens, if this goes out, like I said, because I've seen a video where somebody said they talked to some high-ranking officers, and they're saying this already in the works. Now, we also know that this, because, look, COVID helped out the Democrats in the 2020 election with mail-in ballots and stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, the Democrats would like a situation like that to happen again, so they can get a lot of votes in. But come on, you're telling me that this isn't a coincidence? Oh, Isaac, you're starting to sound like a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm just speaking what I'm observing. But if it's true, if COVID is coming back, and the government tells us, y'all have to wear masks, y'all have to do this, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no, because I'm an American citizen. I have freedoms. I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm not gonna stop going to church. That was another thing that bothered me with COVID-19. Y'all can't go to church because COVID contracts in small churches, and it's dangerous. But every Tom, Dick, and Harry and Lewis could go to Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, go into any retail store. Some of these retail stores the same size as churches. But COVID-19 was immune to Walmart. If you go into Walmart, you would never get sick. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm making my point right here. If they go to a full-blown COVID incident again, I'm not wearing a mask. Oh, what if your job says you have to wear a mask? I'll tell them, hey, you're going to stay 10 feet apart. You're going to stay 20 feet apart. I don't care. I'm not wearing a mask because I'm not living through that hell again. And that's my opinion. With that being said, we're going to be coming back right in a few. We'll be back in a few minutes. I'm trying to I have a word salad going on. We'll be back in a few minutes with Mr. Blake Miguez, representative of the 49th district in the state of Louisiana, and also the candidate for District 22 state Senate seat. Please stay tuned for that. We'll be right back in a few moments.
Cheers and good on you, boys and girls. My name is Scott Ford, and I have a show on Rumble. It's the Scott Ford Show, all one word. The Scott Ford Show, all one word, and it's on Rumble. I'd be very happy if you went ahead and subscribed, like Isaac. I'm a true American-loving patriot. Thank you, Isaac. God bless. Enjoy your life.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the third and final segment of the Cajun Conservative Show. Today, as advertised, we have Mr. Blake Miguez, state representative of the district of the 49th district here in Louisiana, but he's also the candidate for state senator in District 22. Blake, welcome to the Cajun Conservative Show, man.
Isaac, thank you for having me on the show this afternoon. I was hoping to come in and make a pitch of my candidacy, but I'm looking at your cap, and I think that my record must speak for itself.
It does, man. Hey, look, I'm going to be honest with you. You are one of the only candidates that I have endorsed on the show. Well, the only candidate right now. And the reason that being is I looked at your race, and I was talking about getting true conservatism into the state house and into the national stage. And I said, look, we need people like Blake Miguez. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and make an official endorsement right here. So you're the first ever political endorsement I did on this show. So,
well, thank you so much. I'm honored by that. And I can tell you my record does speak for itself. I'm the candidate who's gone to Baton Rouge and fought for the people. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-gun. I grew up just on the parish line between St. Martin, Iberia Parish, and the little village of Lauraville.
Okay.
I've got a record for voting against every tax increase that's been put in front of me. And I've been a big proponent of cutting back on wasteful spending in Baton Rouge and the growth of government. One of my biggest focus has been on focusing our education system, improving and making sure our education system focuses just on that education and not indoctrination. But we have an even larger problem in our state right now. And can you guess what the largest problem we have in Louisiana is?
Probably be either crime or out migration, in my opinion.
Crime's a very important issue, but you got on the second one, out migration. So we lost 48,000 people last year, and they moved to neighboring states like Texas and Florida and North Carolina and Tennessee. And this was going to surprise you, Isaac, Mississippi. We lost people to Mississippi. And it's very unfortunate, and the rate we're going to lose another congressman at our next census because we're losing our youngest and our brightest at such a quick rate. Now, how do you fix that? You create job opportunities here in Louisiana. In order to create job opportunities, you got to make sure that your home insurance and your auto insurance is affordable. We've got to make sure that our tax rates, we do comprehensive tax reform where you have more people paying less taxes and not just the people that are remaining here paying all the taxes. You also, in order to do that, you have to get government spending under control. Government should never spend at a rate faster than the private sector. That's why we have an expenditure limit, which is better known as the spending cap. We've really got to work hard if we want to keep our kids here. It's a shame that we have grandparents that are having to get on airplanes to go visit their grandchildren in other states because our children are moving away. That's Louisiana's number one problem. And we've got to work on it. And I can tell you that's the reason why I'm running for the state Senate. I've served 8.5 years in the House of Representatives. I was the House Republican leader, but more importantly, I've been the strong conservative voice in Baton Rouge. I've had the backbone to stand up to all leaders who were looking to basically enrich themselves over helping we the people and the people in my district and helping our state move forward. And I can tell you, I look forward to working with the new Republican governor when he gets there. I didn't get it along too well with the last governor. We have a difference of ideology.
There's a record.
And there, we've had our differences, but I can tell you that I plan on working well with the new Republican governor moving forward. I hope that Republican governor is from our home parish here. We have a real opportunity. Look, I'll tell you, that's an opportunity you have once in a lifetime, once in a century, to have a governor that comes from your home parish. Imagine having an experienced senator that can work with that governor and they have a great relationship and they're philosophically aligned. What you don't want to do is you don't want to send a rookie up there that's going to try to get things figured out in the first 1 or 2 terms, and by the time they get it figured out, your governor's gone. So we have a unique opportunity to take a stand and tell the rest of the world, the rest of the states where our children are, that look, Louisiana's open for business. That if you try to bring some of that woke left craziness to Louisiana, woke left, that's where, if it comes to Louisiana, it comes here to die.
We also will have a new state rep with Chad Boyer getting into the race, and we're meeting with Mr. Chad in a couple of days to talk about his vision. But talking to Chad has a real good conservative view as well. So if we have a good conservative rep, a good conservative senator, and also a good conservative governor, this state could go far.
Well, I'll tell you, we've changed a lot. Look, I worked very hard to create the first supermajority in the legislature, and for the first time in Louisiana's history just past spring. Had a member who has been in the legislature for 47 years as a registered Democrat. Hell, he's been in the legislature longer than I've been alive.
Right.
I've worked on him for the last 3 years. I've been watching his voting record. The gentleman's name is Francis Thompson. He was voting with us on issues that talked about protecting innocent life in the womb, about protecting your gun rights, about fiscal responsibility. And I went up to him one day and I said, "Why are you a Democrat?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. I've just always been a Democrat." Well, I said, "Have you ever considered being a Republican? Because I could sure use one more vote to make that supermajority, and I think you fit in a lot better with us than you do with them." Took him a little time to think on it, about 3 years. It took him to think on it. And I had the opportunity to get him to switch this past spring, creating the 70th vote in the House, which we already had a supermajority in the Senate, which created the first supermajority in Louisiana's history of Republicans. Now imagine that opportunity with a Republican governor coming in, that he has a supermajority in the legislature. Because I can tell you, Isaac, we worked really hard in the House, and we passed a lot of great bills. Half of those bills went to die in the Senate, and the other half of those bills went to die by governor vetoes. Bills that dealt with election integrity, fiscal responsibility, making sure our women can play on a level playing field and they don't have biological males competing against them, making sure that we protect abuse of children where groomers don't change have them conduct sex change surgeries before they're the age of 18. I know this stuff sounds ridiculous, but it's the world that we're living in today. And somebody's got to stand up for fiscal responsibility. Somebody's got to stand up for our constitutional rights. And somebody's got to stand up to protect our children. I'm that guy. Isaac, I don't just say it. I've done it. I'm a battle-tested conservative, and I look to taking my experience in the House, bringing it into the Senate, and working with that new governor to make Louisiana a place we can all be proud of, the Louisiana that you and I deserve and our grandchildren deserve.
And you're not just saying that because a lot of people probably watch this or listen to this on the audio side and say, well, that's a politician. He said, no, your record proves that you have done everything you said. You have fought against our governor on things, like you said, just the simple science of biology of male and female. Blake, there's no argument there of what's the right choice, but our governor says, well, we're going to wait until we have a problem to do that. I'm a person that, look, if you see a problem coming down the road, you take care of that problem to where when it does show up, hey, you don't have to worry about it.
Well, I can tell you it's happening in other states, and I can tell you, imagine that they biological males competing against our young daughters in women's sports. We worked very hard to make sure that women have opportunities, have career, job opportunities, have scholarship opportunities. I can tell you, I have two daughters. I have a 21-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I want them to grow up to be the best that they can be. And I want them to compete on a level playing field. And I want to make sure they have those opportunities that they can build confidence to do what they got to do to succeed in this world. And I can tell you, taking the 150th male in whatever sport it is and putting them into a female sport and he becomes the first place finisher, taking all these scholarship and job opportunities away from our young daughters, that doesn't sit well with me. I can tell you it doesn't sit well with mothers and grandmothers across this district. That's just one of the issues that we faced. And I can tell you it's happening in other states, and it's coming to Louisiana unless we said no. And the governor didn't agree with us. We had to continue bringing that legislation over and over again until we were able to veto override the governor. Actually, having him sign that bill, I'm thinking about the bill, the gender identity bill we just had. But no, we came a few votes short of overriding the governor on that issue, but it moved the needle because the next year he came in and said, like, I don't want to go up against all the pastors across this state. I don't want to fight this issue again. I'm just going to go ahead and sign the bill. That's a win for us, Isaac. Yep. And that's what we do. That's why we take votes. That's why we fight hard. Because we might not win those battles on day one, but if we continue to be persistent, we'll win for the people of Louisiana, the people of our district.
So I got a question concerning the legislation, the legislators and stuff like that. Y'all had a bill come up. It was the spending cap bill. You mentioned it earlier, and unfortunately, it didn't go through. How do we stop that, Blake? Because you were one, I think, of the original 36
in the final 19.
In the final 19, that said no, we can't do this. But unfortunately, Clay Shakespeare, who's running for Secretary of State, said we're going to push this through. And they did some backroom deals to get the spending cap extended. How do we as conservatives and you going to the House or going to the Senate, if you win and all your fellow legislators going into the House of Representatives, how do we stop that from happening again? Because that is we see with the national debt, we're just going to extend the spending limit, and now we're almost at $40 trillion in debt nationally. In Louisiana, we're only worried about government money coming to us. That's going to have to stop after a while.
Well, I can tell you, I mentioned earlier that some of the problems have been in the Senate. Weak leadership there. We've had some weak leadership as well in the House of Representatives with certain leaders. But I can tell you, that's what I plan on doing. I plan on bringing a loud, measured voice. I plan on making the constituents of District 22's voice heard in Baton Rouge and bringing a backbone to the Senate. What about fiscal responsibility?
Right.
I mean, the situation you just brought up about the spending cap, it's a great thing that in Louisiana, our Constitution requires us to balance a budget every year versus the U.S. Government, which can continue to bring on debt. But it doesn't mean the state of Louisiana doesn't have debt. We have unfunded accrued liability in our retirement programs. We also take debt when we're doing construction projects. So what do you do when you have extra money? Well, the reason why Louisiana's had so much extra money is because we had a COVID response dollars from the federal government flowing through our economy for the past few years. We also had 2 major hurricanes hit our coast. That's an influx of money. We saw the same thing back in 2006 to 2008 following Katrina. And at the time, what the legislature did was they grew the size of their government. They spent like drunken sailors. They spent your dollars and our grandchildren's dollars like drunken sailors. And it was really nice for about 2 years. Everyone got a new bridge or a new park or whatever they wanted to buy votes back home to make their constituents happy. But for year after year after year, it was shortfall after shortfall, deficit after deficit. And then you put yourself in a situation as a legislator. How do you fix that? I'll give you the 2 bad options. You can either raise taxes, which I've said hell no to every time, or you can cut critical government services. And usually what gets cut is higher ed and healthcare. Those are 2 unacceptable options for me because that's bad planning. So we need to learn from the mistakes of the past and figure out how to move forward and handle government more like a business. Well, I studied those times, and that's why we stood very strong to say we're no longer going to use one-time dollars on reoccurring expenditures. And yes, we did lose the battle when it came to busting the expenditure cap, but we did have some wins, and I'll go into that in detail a little bit later. The expenditure cap is there to stop us, the legislature, from spending too much money and growing and spending outside of our means. We were in a situation where we had surplus and excess and additional revenues come in. In layman's term, we had extra money on top of extra money on top of extra money, but our expenditure limit only let us spend about half of that extra money.
Wow.
So we had an additional $2 billion that termed out legislators wanted to spend back home in their districts because they were about to lose their relevance the minute that they hit the gavel and got out a month later. And they had their own political agendas and whatever that may have been. I won't go into detail on this show. But you know what I was looking forward and thinking about is the future of our state, our citizens' dollars. And I was thinking about that new Republican governor we talked about earlier, Isaac. Think about it. I've been in a situation where I've watched the governor come in with not having a budget deficit. He doesn't have time to really fix the problems that our state faces because he spends the entire time talking about cutting critical government services or raising taxes. And with this governor, it was all about raising taxes. We fought for that for years. Well, when our new Republican governor shows up and we have this supermajority in the legislature, I want him focused on making Louisiana a brighter future for our children. I don't want to talk about tax increases. I don't want to talk about cutting critical government services. I was looking out, projecting out 5 years, and I noticed that because our temporary sales tax will be falling off the books and the vehicle sales tax that we moved out of the general fund to answer the needs of our constituents and put in this transportation sub-trust fund added up to about $800 million of shortfall in spending of revenues. Well, when that money leaving, we're at about $800 million short in coming in the second year of the new governor's term. So why continue to spend those dollars and create a $1 billion shortfall, very similar to what John Bel Edwards had to face coming in? I said that's unacceptable because I want to make sure that we can manage that shortfall. We're like 3 or 4 years away. So why spend your way into that shortfall? If you cut back just a little, then we can avoid tax increases and avoid these cuts. And I can tell you that I was frustrated that the spending cap got bust because, I voted against busting it. But I can tell you that we did change the narrative in Baton Rouge. We did win some battles. We, as a legislature, passed $700 million of debt payments.
Oh, wow.
Now, the governor vetoed about $150 million of them.
Don't surprise me there.
But we were able to pay I don't have the exact book in front of me, $600 million in debt payments. That's 7.25% interest on unfunded accrued liability. That's money that we can pay off and in the future saves us state general fund deficit. And that's money you can use to go back and reborrow at 3.1% on GO bonds and construct roads and bridges. So it's just about, I know it's a lot of detail, but it's just about being fiscally responsible. And you can tell for the last 8 years, I've been in nearly 30 sessions. I watched the mistakes that have been made. And I want to make sure that we set our new governor up and our new legislature for success, because if the legislature is successful and the new Republican governor is successful, our state will be successful. We'll have job opportunities for our children.
And it's just not a Republican-Democrat issue either.
It's not.
Because, you're talking about setting the governor up for success. By some coincidence, Sean Wilson gets in there. He's going to have to face $1 billion shortfall. So he's going to have to deal with that. Oh, now then we're going to have to start raising taxes. And he's not going to do the conservative. He's not going to go ahead and look the conservative way. He's going to go the Democrat way. And that's dangerous.
I had my earmuffs on the whole time when you were talking about a Democrat becoming a governor. We've had 8 years with a Democrat. I'm looking forward to 8 years with a Republican.
I am too. This governor's race, I'm very, optimistic, I guess you could say. I'm looking forward to seeing if not Jeff, somebody else. I think any Republican would do a good job.
I'm looking for some bold leadership.
Yeah.
I'm looking for someone that recognizes the out-migration problem, recognizes that we have crime problems across the state, worse in certain areas of the state versus others, recognizes that our citizens' constitutional rights are important, recognizes that we've got to get our insurance rates down in this state. My God, we got to get our insurance rates down, because if it's not affordable to live here, they're going to live somewhere else. And then we need a governor that's going to look at saying, we are open for business. We love the oil and gas industry. We love our agriculture industry. We want to make sure our tourism industry is thriving. Louisiana is a great place. We've got all these great resources. We're not going to let the corrupt politicians of the past determine our future. We want to get off the bottom of all the bad lists, and we want to start moving up on those lists. And we want our children growing up right here in Louisiana. Isaac, I'm 7th generation growing up here. My father's side of the family was Spanish. They founded the city of New Iberia, the Miguezes. My mother's side of the family, we're from Coda Home, St. Martinville, and Laurelville. 7 generations, Acadian, French, and French descendants. Can you imagine if my 8th, 9th, 10th generation grew up in Texas?
Yeah, that's a shame.
That's just, I want them living here eating jambalaya, crawfish, boudin. I mean, hunting and fishing in the same lakes my grandfather hunted in. I want them growing up and knowing what it's like to have conservative values. All they need is a job opportunity, Isaac, and they'll stay here because they love this place. Great music, great food. What about Louisiana's greatest asset, our people?
Yep.
We can fix this state. We just got to.
And it's not much to fix either. It's not much to fix. And I know John Bell has done stuff over the 8 years, but thanks to conservatives like yourself and Alan Seaball and a lot of y'all guys, y'all stopped a lot what he wanted to get done. And that puts us ahead forward to this election. Whoever goes in there, if it's Jeff or Wags or anybody, if they get in there, they can do tremendous stuff, especially with a super House and a super Senate for Republicans. It's mind-boggling.
I can tell you,
they have a good opportunity.
Looking at the numbers in the legislature, the Senate's getting to the point where it'll be maxing out at around, I think we have 27 Republican votes now, I believe.
I think so.
We can get to about 28, and out of sort of within reason, that's probably the highest Republican count you can get in the Senate. But the House has an opportunity. We're at 71 now. We have an opportunity to probably get up to about 73 votes. That means when you have one holdout on a particular issue, it doesn't make a huge issue. Because remember, we went to these override sessions. We had senators go down to the floor and say, look, I'm voting on this one bill, but after this, I'm voting with the governor and against everything. I don't care what the issue is, which is very, very disappointing. So now if you get a rogue senator, a rogue representative, you won't have to worry about those issues moving forward. But I can tell you, once the Republican governor shows in, it's going to be a total different place over there. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between conservative Miguez and a moderate member, Republican. Because if you get a strong conservative governor, that's where everyone's going to go, because that's just how they're going to react, and it's going to bring people together. It's going to bring some unity, and it's going to be on us to be, and as Republicans, to be bold leaders and to figure out how to fix these issues that we have. And I can tell you, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Look at North Carolina's tax reform policy. Look at the fact that Texas doesn't have a personal income tax. Look at some of these things, and you can quickly figure out how to get our tax environment right. And look, we actually made some steps in the right direction, even with Governor Edwards. We were able to take the personal income tax, take it out of the Constitution, unlock it, and put a cap on how high you can raise someone's personal income. And we put triggers where once this extra revenue comes in, where the personal income tax will start stepping down. But before, in layman's terms, before Isaac, it took 2/3 vote to lower income tax. Okay. Now it takes a majority vote.
That's good.
That's great.
Yep.
Because think about it, once you get a Republican governor, you just need a majority vote unless you're trying to do a constitutional amendment. The reason why the 2/3 vote was so important, because we had a philosophical difference with the governor on a number of issues. So we had to get 2/3 vote. And look, this legislature that I served in overrode the governor several times.
Yep.
That's not something that happens very often in history.
Are y'all the first one in Louisiana history to do a governor's veto session? I think it was 2 years ago, right?
We were the first ones in history to call ourselves back into a special session.
Special session, yeah.
That's right.
And that's all because of the backbone that you and other good conservatives have done. So,
yeah, remember, it wasn't too long ago when they were shutting down our businesses, our schools, and our churches.
Which they're trying to do that back again.
Most election time.
Yeah. Yep, that's a good point too. So I got a couple of questions about going forward, Blake. You would get elected into District 22 state Senate seat. And I'm seeing this because I bring this up a lot on the show because of the governor's race right now. We got 5 Republicans running for governor right now. I think it's a shame that we have that much. I hear a lot of people disappointed with the GOP's endorsement of Jeff. To be honest with you, I was happy they did that early because it showed that the party was unified for one person. Now, you got some Republicans that are upset that the GOP didn't endorse, but the last time they did that was Abraham and Risponi, and they waited until the last minute. but 5 Republicans running for governor. Have you ever considered bringing up a bill or voting for a bill that calls for primaries in this state, to where we, the citizens of Louisiana, get a chance to vote for the guy we want, and whoever's the top dog gets to go run against the Democrat candidate?
Yeah, and I've thought about that many times, and I would support that. And look, you hear talking about closed primaries a lot, which means that only Republicans can vote in Republican primaries and Democrats can vote in Democrat primaries. But there is things called open primaries too.
Yeah.
I just want some type of primary system, because I've seen the issues that we've had in the past where you get a ton of Republicans in a Republican state vying to try to make the runoff and doing things that they normally wouldn't do to make the runoff. Then once they get there, they're all upset with each other. It's only 30 days before the runoff.
Yep.
And then the unscathed Democrat walks right in. That's not something I want to see happen again. And look, it happened 2 times. I mean, we've had it happen twice. And, what happened with the state party might not have been the cleanest thing, but desperate times calls for desperate measures.
Yep.
I can tell you, the constituents back home, if I asked them, if you had to pick between electing another Democratic governor like you've had for the last 8 years that's left-leaning, or the time of which the state party endorsed the Republican, they're going to say, I'll take the Republican all day long. I felt like the party had to do something to start to get people unified behind a singular candidate. But look, that can be cleaned up in the future. I know there's a convention now, and they're getting more organized. But why didn't the legislature, all those people who are complaining about the LA GOP endorsing so early, why didn't they support a primary system?
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point.
You put people in this situation, and they're going to knee-jerk react this way because they just want the same results we all want, to elect a conservative Republican governor. So the legislature had their opportunity, so the state party had to take it into their own hands. And look, where you're looking at today, we've got a leading candidate who is the endorsed candidate, who's at 40% in the polls. The Democrats at around 28%. Every other candidate's under 5%. So it actually is working.
Yeah, well, we at the GOP kind of set the groundwork. Like, look, this is the one that we want in there to change the state of Louisiana. Now,
there's other great candidates in the race, okay?
Yeah.
But nobody will question the endorsed candidate's conservative credentials. Nobody will question his backbone. Nobody will question his heart that he wants to fix Louisiana. And where we're at right now, after 8 years of John Bell Edwards, we need a fighter like him.
Yeah, we need somebody that's strong.
We need somebody that's going to go over there and fight for us. That's why I'm looking forward to the opportunity to run for the Senate, because I'm a fighter too, a battle-tested conservative. I want to go over there and work with them to fix our state. It's nothing against the other candidates in the race. There's a ton of great people out there. But we got to get this state fixed, Isaac.
Yeah, we have to. And because I'm going to be honest with you, Blake, before doing this show and before other things popped up, I was planning on moving to Texas. I was considering it. And look, I'm 31 right now, Blake. And I would have never thought I would have got married and me and my wife sitting down. All right, it's pretty bad here in Louisiana. Let's think about moving to another state. And look, I like Texas to visit, but I don't know how I would like it to live out there. I have friends out there. They said, look, we're coming back to Louisiana right after we finish school. Last time we talked to them, nope, we staying here in Texas. We don't like that. We like the low insurance. We like the no income tax. They're taking our.
But they want to live here. If we had the environment,
Yeah.
a better job environment, and a lower cost of living environment, they'd live here.
Yeah.
I can tell you, that's the issue that we're having because of those thoughts that you're having. I can tell you that I've never thought about moving to Texas. I haven't even thought about moving to Youngsville. I'm staying in District 22. I grew up here. I live in District 22.
Yeah.
I work in District 22. I raised my family in District 22. I'm going to stay here and fight for our people. But I empathize with you and understand what you're going through and understand the challenges that you and your family face and other constituents across our district. But we have an opportunity here at the election.
Yep.
I'll ask you this. This is very simple. Do you want to continue as Louisiana being at the bottom of all the good lists, letting the good old boys be the only ones that prosper in our state and our district? Or do you want to make a change? Do you want to send conservative fighters up there who are going to challenge the status quo, who are not only going to have mere passion, but going to have the courage and the backbone to stand up what's right? That's what my race is all about. I can tell you that it's not a very complicated race.
No.
You've got two options. You can either elect a senator that's going to go to Baton Rouge and fight for you, the people, or you can elect a senator that's going to go to Baton Rouge and join the good old boy club, just like the problems that we've had with our current governor and corrupt politicians before. But I trust the people of District 22. I think they're going to make the right choice because just like me and my family, they got grandkids too, and they're frustrated, and they're having the same thoughts that you're having.
Yep.
And we got to fix this state.
Yeah, we need to do something. We need to do so. Blake, on the final minutes of the segment and the show, tell people where they can find information on you, and if they want to help with your campaign, if they live in District 22, even if they don't live in District 22, they want to see a difference in the state of Louisiana, where they can help you out.
So if anybody wants to learn more about my campaign, my candidacy for State Senate in District 22, you can go to my website, blakemiguez.com. We're also on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on Twitter. We have some pretty cool other pages too that talk about. We have an annual fundraiser every year. We just got through called the Marksman for Miguez fundraiser. You may know I'm a former world champion pistol shooter. I still compete actively, and I was on a reality show on the History Channel called Top Shot. So the Second Amendment and shooting is a passion of mine. So we have an annual shoot. But look, if you want to get involved in my campaign, there's a lot of different ways you can get involved. We have a way you can donate on the website. We also have a way you can volunteer. If you live in Senate District 22, and look, if you want to know what's Senate District 22, because it just changed recently, it's Iberia, St. Martin, and a small part of Lafayette Parish, which is the Broussard, South Lafayette area, which doesn't include Youngsville. It's just the center strip. If you live in that area and you want a yard sign, you can go right on our website, and you can get a yard sign or a large sign. But look, if you want to know more about me, go to my website. We have a platform. We have a message, and we have a plan. And it's there on the website. You can see exactly what I stand for. And if you want to see how I voted, all that information is available online on the legislative website. And we've had a lot of great endorsements so far, Isaac. We've got the Louisiana Republican State Party has endorsed me. The Lafayette Local Republican Party has endorsed me. The Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. The Louisiana Home Builders have endorsed me. The Louisiana Committee of a Conservative Majority has endorsed me. The Louisiana Hospital Association has endorsed me. And we have a lot of other exciting endorsements coming along. But go in, all that information's there online. But get active on our Facebook. Follow me. You can follow my campaign trail by just going to Facebook and seeing. Look, we'll go all the way from the LA GOP convention, giving a speech in a suit, to the American Legion Hall in Cecilia with cowboy boots, having a little bit of dinner. Look, we're moving around a lot in this district and working very hard.
You just spoke at the convention too. I think it was this past weekend. So
I was one of the keynote speakers there.
I was planning. When you told me it was that weekend, I was already booked in Baton Rouge. I was like, I would have loved to win and hear y'all speak. And
if anybody's out there and you're local to the area, you want to drive on down. The election is October 14th, and on the election night, we're praying for a victory, and we hope that God blesses us with one. But regardless, we will be at Pat's in Henderson for the opening night. We had about 1,400 people show up to support me. We're hoping to finish this election off strong and come out and have a drink, eat some food with us, and let's watch some election results on October 14th. But please tell your family, tell your friends, I need your support. I need your vote. I can't do it without the constituents in this district. And if you elect me to be your next state senator, I'm going to be there, your voice in Baton Rouge. And I can tell you, I'll never forget where I came from or who sent me.
Came a long way since we met on the dock in Delco. Remember that?
That's right. The blessing of the fleet. We just had that recently.
Yep. Couldn't make that either. I was busy that day. I got busy since a year. But, hey, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, Blake, thank you for coming on, man. We can't wait to follow the campaign trail. And if you ever want to come back on, that mic's always open for you.
Well, thanks so much for having me this afternoon, and I always look forward to it. Appreciate the time.
Same here. That was Mr. Blake Miguez. He's running for District 22 State Senate seat here in Louisiana. Please go ahead and check out his campaign pages on Facebook and also on the web. With that being said, we have run out of time for this episode, but as always, thank you for listening to the show. Remember, Jesus Christ is King. He's coming back. He's coming back soon, so don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has overcome the world. If you want to know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, reach out to us at the Cajun Conservative 5 at gmail.com. We'll tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and heaven your home. Until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. You have a good one.
And he is the open door.